This right here is my master dividend tracker for my 7-figure dividend growth portfolio, which is for the most part every single different stock and ETF that I own across multiple brokerages, and the total accumulation of all the assets I've been buying for the last 7 or so years. Now in this video, we're going to go over every single position that I currently hold in my 7-figure dividend growth portfolio. I'm going to share with you some stats like how much certain positions pay me in dividends per month or per quarter, etc, etc. So if you want to see an extremely unfiltered behind the scenes look into a real 7-figure portfolio, make sure to drop a like down below, stick around, and let's get right into it. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. So first, like I said, I've been investing in the stock market for several years now, and just to go back in time a little bit, here are some of the purchases I was making back in 2020, which is when I purchased the majority of the holdings within my long-term portfolio. Maybe not the majority actually, but quite a bit. And just for one example, you can see that back then I was buying tons of realty income basically every single day, rushing to build out a position as fast as possible. And this is during a time where I thought stocks were on sale, but maybe not for long. Now, since then, over the years, I've been using basically all my active income to buy into dividend-paying stocks and ETFs that I believe in long term. And over the years, I built up a position with around 40 different holdings, and although maybe not every single stock that I originally purchased is still within this portfolio, I did of course sell off some things over time, but for the most part, this is what we have, and this is what we've been building for years now. Now, my main strategy for this portfolio as a 31-year-old dividend growth investor is to build a basket of holdings that not only pay me dividends on a monthly and quarterly basis, but also I want some positions in this portfolio to also grow over time to, of course, allow my net worth to grow as the years go on. But now digging right into it, going through every single position within this portfolio and even sharing some of my favorite positions. We first have around 1,748 shares of the BlackRock Enhanced Equity Dividend Trust, or ticker symbol BDJ. Now again, keep in mind some of the positions in this portfolio are going to be more income oriented, like BDJ for example, and some positions are going to be more growth oriented, like my shares of Apple. But after BDJ, we also have a ton of Divo, ticker symbol DIVO, 1,476 shares, which for example pay us around $231 in dividends, more or less of course, every single month. We then have 1,262 shares of ticker symbol VZ Verizon, which I purchased way too many shares of years ago, and I've been holding on to them ever since. But then we also have more of a growth position. We have 1,000 shares of Apple stock, which I started buying I think back in 2018. Next, we have 2,734 shares of QYLD, obviously an income position as far as that goes. Those shares in QYLD pay us around $400 plus on a monthly basis in dividends alone. We then have one of my favorite long-term single stock positions across my entire portfolio. We have 2,858 shares, more or less, of ticker symbol O, Realty Income. Now, like I showed you earlier at the beginning, I've been buying Realty Income way back in the day, and this is even ever since I was investing solely on the Robinhood platform. And over the years, accumulated more and more shares of Realty Income. As of right now, I think last month, Realty Income paid me around $720 in dividends, and that's not what I get paid every single month. We next have a ton of shares of JEPI, the JP Morgan Equity Premium Income ETF, 1,248 shares of JEPI, which pays somewhere around $500 per month. Of course, it's going to depend on what JEPI's dividend payout is. Then one of my other favorite single stock positions, ticker symbol EPD or Enterprise Product Partners, 746 shares of that. BST, we have 700 shares, which I've held for years now. MPW, Medical Properties Trust, one of my mistake purchases, 611 shares of that. 508 shares of JEPQ. We then have 300 shares of Omega Healthcare, OHI. We have a few shares, 246 shares of NUC. We have around 200 shares of XYLD. Then we have 601 shares of SCHD, one of my favorite long-term buy and hold forever ETFs. I'm desperately trying to get to 1,000 shares by the end of this year. Next, we have some more income-focused positions like Altria Group, 311 shares of Altria. We have around 261 shares of Triple N REIT. We have 100 shares of JP Morgan. We have 293 shares of Vici, 59 shares of Kinder Morgan. We have around 234 shares of Main Street Capital, 89 shares of Walgreens. And next, we have 351 shares of WP Carey, 47 shares of PNW, which is Pinnacle West Capital. We have around 255 shares of Tesla. UPS, we have 24 shares of. Pembina Pipeline, 20 shares. Arbor Realty Trust, 18 shares. Extra Space Storage, 16 shares, Simon Property Group, 17 shares. We have 12 shares of SVOL, 9 shares of Stag. We have 8 shares of T-Row, we have 19 shares of Kimberly-Clark. We have 3192 of VNQ, 700 PSA, 351 SPYI, and then one of my newest positions that I just started as of recently, we have 12 shares of FEPI, or ticker symbol FEPI. So as you can see, certain positions within this long-term portfolio are of course more growth-oriented, and of course a lot of the positions are more income-oriented. And that's because for my specific strategy, I'm not necessarily looking to chase yield or looking to chase cash flow solely, but it is an important metric that I do hold very highly, especially because I dream of using this dividend income to cover my bills sometime in the future. Now, like I said, I'm currently 31 years old and have been investing very heavily and seriously for around 7 or so years. And around 3 years from now, by year number 10, I'll be somewhere of around 34 years old. And I'm hoping by that point, this portfolio could be paying me north of say $7,000, $8,000 per month. And that's with not necessarily investing only into things that pay a super high yield off top. Now, even as of right now, my daily buys are mostly things like SCHD, which just pay around 3.5% yield, or even things like Realty Income that only has a 5.8% yield. Not to mention, I also often buy shares of Diva, which has like a 4.5% yield. But then certain days, I do invest a portion of my cash balance into things like SPYI, SVOL, or other different more income-focused ETFs. Because once again, I do have that longer-term goal of getting past $7,000 and $8,000 of total monthly dividends. And with the amount of cash balance I have available, it's never going to happen today or tomorrow if I solely invest in things like SCHD. And even though my strategy as of right now is sort of set in stone and that's what I have my eyes on, I do openly admit that my strategies could change over time. And although my strategy hasn't changed yet, who knows what could happen in the future. Maybe I'll sell off some positions and write cover calls more often, or anything else can happen. But this is the results of me investing over the past, say, 7 or so years, buying different dividend paying stocks and ETFs every single day for the most part, spending a ton of my active income to invest in different stocks and ETFs that pay me dividends every single quarter or every single month. Now, the idea is that over time, I'll reinvest dividends, which is what I've been doing as of currently, and buy more shares of different stocks or ETFs. So the dividend amount will continue to go up without me actually having to make any other outside deposits. But on top of that, I'm hopeful that a lot of the positions inside this portfolio, things like SCHD, things like Apple, things like even Verizon, are going to continue to pay more and more in dividends over time. So that also will help me really compound this portfolio a lot quicker with again, the least amount as possible outside deposits. Because I'm just going to be honest here, I spent a lot of years depositing into my portfolios like crazy, and although I'm not against it, and although I still do make outside deposits here and there, I really want to build out a large enough portfolio to pay me enough in dividends to allow me to basically buy a set amount of stocks or ETFs every single day when the market is open without having to make any more deposits. So now that we went through my entire dividend growth portfolio, I now want to hear from you guys down below. Which position within my long-term portfolio is your #1 favorite position and why? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.